weekly chat and channel update. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. I hope you had a great week, and I hope that you're getting ready for another great week. I want to say thank you for all the fun comments and the feedback that you've given me on the videos that we had this week. And one question that I want to go over, I got from Wide Awake 73, and this person asked me, she says, or he, I'm not sure if it's a man or woman, I remember people used to use wax to can using preserves, and I'm not sure what else. Is there a way you could do a video on this method, or just answer me? I'm assuming that you would cook the item, put it in a jar, let it cool, pour the warmed wax on top, and it would seal. Any advice would help. Well, Wide Awake, I want to say, first of all, I've never used wax in canning, but I am aware that waxing used to be a very typical form of preserving. They would seal what was in the jar with the hot wax, and as it cooled, it would form a barrier so that no bacteria would get in. But I do not recommend waxing at all. Waxing is only good for a couple of months at best. It's not good for long term, and eventually the wax will shrink, and thereby allowing bacteria into your jar, and then possibly inviting an environment in which you could contract botulism. So we don't want to really use wax. If you are more interested in getting more information on waxing and how you do that for yourself, I highly recommend that you consult the Ball Blue Book, the Ball Complete Book of Home Canning, or the Ball website, and do some serious research on the waxing. I seriously would not recommend that. It's just me personally. I don't think it's really a tried and true method now. With water bath canning takes hardly any time, really. In retrospect, when you look at what you're doing, the effort that you're putting into making your jams and jellies or whatever you're making, if you're going to take the time to use the freshest ingredients or even grow your own ingredients, and then you're taking the time to prepare the jam, what's another 10 or 20 minutes to water bath process that so that you have a much longer shelf life? And the safety factor is highly elevated when you do it that way. I do want to make a note that meats, low acid vegetables, and almost everything that isn't a fruit should never be canned except with a pressure canning procedure, and never should rely on wax to can or preserve any of those things. So you should use pressure canning, you should use proper safety, and you should do your research before you start to can. If you are unfamiliar with that, watch some videos, read some information, and then approach it from a safety first perspective. So that's what I'm going to say. I'll stop pontificating on that. I wanted to bring your attention to a really good article that I found. It was posted today on the American Dream website. I found it through a link. It was posted also on the Infowars.com website. I will put a link to this article. The title of the article is "Why Are Millions of Preppers Preparing Feverishly for the End of the World as We Know It?" I'm just going to read you a couple of paragraphs, and I'm going to leave you to go ahead and link to the article and read it for yourself. There's a lot of good information in here for the beginning prepper. And I think that it would behoove you to print this out and put it in your little informational notebook that I know everybody has. And if you don't, you should have one. Or a file or something. Print out these articles for future reference, because we may not always have this little electric box in our kitchen or wherever to pop up that information that we're looking for. So we want to may fall back on some hard copies the old-fashioned way. But here's the gist of this article. In America today, there are millions of preppers that are working feverishly to get prepared for what they fear is going to happen in America. There is a very good chance that some of your neighbors or co-workers may be preppers. You may even have noticed that some of your relatives and friends have been storing up food and have been trying to convince you that we are on the verge of, quote-unquote, the end of the world as we know it. A lot of preppers like to keep their preparations quiet, but everyone agrees that the prepper movement is growing. Some estimate that there are 4 million preppers in the United States today. Others claim that there are a lot more than that. In any event, there are certainly a lot of preppers out there, so exactly what are all these preppers so busy preparing for? Well, the truth is that the motivation for prepping is different for each person. Some preppers believe that a complete collapse of our economy is coming. That's me. Others saw what happened to so many during Hurricane Katrina and are determined not to let that happen to them. This is also a motivator for my family. Some preppers just want to become more independent and self-sufficient. Yet there are others that are deeply concerned about the end of the world as we know it scenarios, such as terrorists using weapons of mass destruction, killer pandemics, alien invasions, and World War III or EMP attacks. Now, on an aside to this article, this is my own personal opinion. If you are worried about alien invasions, okay, you're worried about alien invasions. But I think our problems here are bigger than little green men from outer space. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I discount the fact that aliens may indeed exist. But whatever the motivation is, the prepper movement is clearly growing. Today, millions of Americans are converting spare rooms into storage pantries, learning how to grow survival gardens, and stocking up on everything from gas masks to auxiliary generators. Recently, the Selena Journal gathered together about 24 preppers. What they found is that there is a tremendous amount of diversity among them, but they are also clearly share a common passion. And I will stop there, and I will let you go on and read this article. It's a really good article, and it's about 4 or 5 pages long, so I don't want to bore you with all of that here, because you're all intelligent, and you all know what you want. If you want to read this, please go ahead and do it, but I highly recommend it. It's good information. And moving on, this week, what did I upload? I uploaded Prepper's Pantry Chicken Soup. I also want to make a note here. I am going to try very hard to do Prepper's Pantry videos every Friday, because a lot of you really tell me how much you enjoy the Prepper's Pantry, and I really need to kind of kick my game up with that particular subject and increase my own recipe repertoire when it comes to my food storage. So we're going to learn together. We're going to see what works, and we're going to see what doesn't work. And you know what? If something turns out really bad, then I'll let you know. Because, if it's really bad, I'll just toss it. The dogs will eat it or something. Anyway, so what do we have? We had Prepper's Pantry Chicken Soup. A real short announcement about my new Facebook page for the holidays are coming. And thank you so much. I had a lot of people go over there and check it out. I did my Sharing My Crafts, and I opened my Etsy store one. Quick and Easy Pan Chili, applesauce cake, and yesterday we did golden mushroom crock pot chicken. Coming soon, and this is just a list of things that I plan on doing, maybe not necessarily this coming week, but in the near future. I'd like to have a few on deck videos, as so to speak. On the weekends I try and do several at a time, and the weekend that we went to Busch Gardens I kind of got behind a little, so I'm kind of working one at a time right now, but I'm hoping to get a stockpile again. I'm going to do bath tea, fizzing bath salts, red velvet brownies, coffee cake. I'm going to do a real short help them in a hurry video using the frozen stuffed shells that we made the stuffed shells from previously. And I'm going to do a Prepper's Pantry cheeseburger macaroni skillet and pan pizza. And then I made myself a note. I tend to change my mind, and I like to have a few videos on deck, so I pick and choose from day to day. So, and I would like to take this moment to address some comments that I think bear addressing. Now, when I uploaded my video on my crafting in my Etsy store, I did that because many of you have expressed a desire for me to share the crafting that I do. So I went ahead and I did that. Now, I started my Etsy store a year ago. I've never put anything in it, and I started doing crafting quite a bit more in the past year. I used to do it like gangbusters, just craft everything. My father and mother used to own a country store, and I used to make things to sell in there. So I also used to own my own flower shop and gift basket business. I've done a lot of things in my life, and I thought this Etsy store is a perfect venue for me to sell some of the crafts that I like to make, because, what am I going to do with all of them? I give a lot away, and I enjoy doing it, and there's always new and different stuff coming out. And so I thought, I'm going to put some things up on the Etsy store, and I'm going to sell them. Well, I did have one person who left a comment, and after I replied to that comment, they actually removed their comment. But I wanted to address it, and the comment went something like this. I thought that your channel was supposed to be for from the heart things, and now it's just for making a buck? ? Well, I have to tell you that of all the mean, ugly comments that I've ever received in the entire time I've had this channel, that one literally had me sitting in the front of the computer crying. Because of all the things that anybody could say to me, you know what? You can call me fat, ugly, stupid. You can call me anything, but there are a few things you cannot do. You cannot call my family names. You are not allowed to attack my husband. You are not allowed to attack my children. And you are not allowed to attack my integrity. And frankly, I do not think there's anything wrong with me wanting to make life for my family just a little bit better. I am not going to get rich selling my crafts. Period, end. That is not going to make me a millionaire. And Etsy is available for anybody to open a store. Anybody can go on there and sell things. If you're not familiar with Etsy, it's a website where you can go and sell handmade items, vintage items, and you can sell supplies for crafting. People on Etsy sell everything, literally from soap to nuts. Everything. They sell handmade soap, handmade bath gel, handmade everything, Christmas gift tags, wrapping paper, vintage items, hand crocheted items. Really beautiful pieces of high-end artwork are sold on Etsy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with me wanting to do that. And if I have offended anybody by putting up the fact that I opened a store and that I'm selling my crafts, I apologize. You may choose not to go to that store. I am not going to be hurt by it. But the fact of the matter is, telling me not to do something is like telling a child not to do something, because what is the thing they really want to do most? The thing that you told them not to do, right? So it just makes me more motivated to want to be better at it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying that I think that people maybe should think a little bit before they make comments like that, because that hurt me more than anything else has ever hurt me, of anything that's ever been said on any one of my videos. I did want to tell you also, because I put that video up about my Facebook, help them, the holidays are coming. If you are on Facebook and if you choose to go over there, check it out. I put a link in the underbar. I do also have a Facebook page for the What's for Dinner. I post all of the recipe videos on there. And my website, I am still working on my website. I've really been busy trying to get so many different things finished that the website is kind of taking a back burner. I'm going to try real hard to get that up. I know I say that every week, but, you know, it's just one of those things. Life gets in the way, and my kids come first, and my husband comes first, so then something has to give. So that's the way that is. The cookbook is almost finished. It's almost ready to send the proofreader. And once I have that up, I was hoping to have it ready to release on November the 2nd, but that looks like I may push it back another week. So I really want to have it ready so that you all have time to look at it, so you can prepare your Thanksgiving menus. And with Christmas coming, I know how important that is. Okay. That's all the sharing I have to do about the channel and all of that, my little chat. But I've said in previous videos, I like to read you a little something every time before we leave. So we're going to have story time. And we're going to start story time with a little, one of my very favorite authors is Robert Fulghum. If you're not familiar with Robert Fulghum is very famous for this book, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. If you like philosophical, existential kind of reading, who really makes you ponder the things, the way you look at things in life, then you're going to love Robert Fulghum, because they're little vignettes, they're little anecdotes that he's decided to put in written form and share, and they really 100% better than Chicken Soup for the Soul, because where Chicken Soup for the Soul is inspirational, and I'm not discounting that at all because I love those too, Robert Fulghum is really introspective and really makes you look at something and think about it. You know, when I say existential, I know most of you probably know what that means, but for those of you who don't, maybe there's some younger kids out there who don't understand what existential means. Existential means looking at something from a very philosophical, outward kind of perspective. Like, this is my favorite example. What if D-O-G really spelled God? It's that simple. You know, if you look at things at a bigger level like that, what if that were true? Because I always thought there is no coincidence that dog is God spelled backwards. I'm just saying. Okay, So today I'm going to share with you, these don't have titles, and they just go from, one to the next. They're not usually very long, just a few pages, but I'm going to share this one with you because it's autumn, and this one is the first one that popped into my head because of the season. So, here we go. Robert Fulghum, All I Really Need to Know, I Learned in Kindergarten, subtitled Uncommon Thoughts on Common Things. The rap on the door was sharp, urgent, insistent, a foreboding of crisis. Rappity, 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 rap, rap. Me, pushing to the door, fumbling with the lock, pumping my adrenaline, preparing for emergency. Small boy, odd expression, hands me a scrawled note on much folded paper. My name is Donnie. I will rake your leaves, $1 a yard. I am deaf. You can write to me. I can read. I rake good. Across the back of our house is a row of middle-aged matronly maple trees, extravagantly dressed in season, and a million leaf sequins. And in season the sequins detach. Not much wind in our sheltered yard, so the leaves lie about the ladies' feet. Now like dressing gowns they've stepped out of in preparation for the bath of winter. I like the way it looks. I like the way it looks very much. My wife does not. The gardening magazine does not like it either. Leaves should be raked. There are rules. Leaves are not good for grass. Leaves are untidy. Leaves are moldy, slimy. But I like leaves so much, I once filled my classroom at school ankle deep with them. There is a reason for leaves. There is no reason for mowed grass, so I say. My wife does not see it this way. There is an unspoken accusation in the air of laziness. We have been through this before, but this year a bargain has been struck in the name of the scientific method. Half the yard will be properly raked, and the other half will be left in the care of nature. Come summer we shall see. And so her part is raked, and mine is not. Let it be. As an aside to this, when we moved here, we have lots of trees. And our lawn gets covered in leaves. And I used to get very, very hyper about the leaves being raked because I didn't want the neighbors to think we were slobs. And Rick used to just say, let the leaves be. I'll take care of the leaves with the lawnmower. We don't have to go out there and rake the leaves with the rake. Once again, Rick wins.
Lawnmower works fine.
The lawnmower works fine. Now back to our story. Like a pilot in a fog, relying on limited instruments, the boy looks intently at my face for information. He knows I have leaves. He has seen them. Mine is the only yard in the neighborhood with leaves, in fact. He knows his price is right. Solemnly, he holds out pencil and paper for my reply. How can I explain to him about the importance of the scientific experiment going on in my backyard? In a way, the trees are there because of the leaves. With unbridled extravagance, zillions of seeds have helicoptered out of the sky to land like assault forces to green the earth. The leaves follow to cover, protect, warm, and nourish the next generation of trees. Stony ground, rot, mold, bacteria, birds, squirrels, bugs, and people all intervene. But somehow some make it, some tenacious seeds take hold and hold on for dear life. In the silence of winter's dark, they prevail and plant themselves and survive to become the next generation of trees. It has been thus for eons, and we mess with the process at our peril, say I. This is important. My name is Donnie. I will rake your leaves $1 a yard. I am deaf. You can write to me. I can read. I rake good. He holds out pencil and paper with patience and hope and goodwill. There are times when the simplest of events call all of one's existential motives into question. What would I do if he wasn't deaf? What will I do for him if I say no? If I say yes? What difference? We stand in each other's long silence, inarticulate for different reasons. In the same motion, he turns to go, and I reach for the pencil and paper to write solemnly, yes. Yes, I would like to have you rake my leaves. A grave nod from the attentive businessman child. Do you do it when they are wet? Yes, he writes. Do you have your own rake? No. This is a big yard. There are lots of leaves. Yes. I think I should give you $2. A smile. 3, he writes, a grin. We have a contract. The rake is produced, and Donnie, the deaf leaf raker, goes to work in the fast-falling November twilight. In silence, he rakes. In silence, I watch. Through the window of the dark house, are there any sounds at all in his mind, I wonder? Or only the hollow, empty sea sound I get when I put my fingers in my ears as tightly as I can? Carefully, he rakes the leaves into a large pile, as instructed. Yes, I am thinking I will spread them out over the yard again after he is gone. I am stubborn about this. Carefully, he goes back over the yard, picking up missed leaves by hand and carrying them to the pile. He is also stubborn about his values. Raking leaves means all the leaves. Signing that he must go because it is dark and he must go home to eat, he leaves the work unfinished. Having paid in advance, I wonder if he will return. At age 45, I am cynical. Too cynical. Come morning, he has returned to his task, first checking the previously raked yard for latecomers. He takes pride in his work. The yard is leaf-free. I note his picking up several of the brightest yellow leaves and putting them into his pocket of his sweatshirt, along with a whole handful of helicoptered seeds. Rappity, rappity, rap! He reports to the door, signing that the work is done. As he walks away up the street, I see him tossing one helicoptered seed into the air at a time. Fringe benefits. I stand in my own doorway, in my own silence, smiling at his grace. Fringe benefits. Tomorrow I will go out and push the pile of leaves over the bank into the compost heap at the bottom of the ravine behind our house. I will do it in silence. The leaves and seeds will have to work out their destiny there this year. I could not feel right about undoing his work. My experiment with science will have to stand aside for something more human. The leaves let go, the seeds let go, and I must let go sometimes too. And cast my lot for another of nature's imperfect but tenacious survivors. Hold on, Donnie. Hold on. I love him. I just love him. So, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope I didn't bore you, but there are too many things in this world that I think are too important not to keep to yourself. So, I hope you have a great week, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Until next time, I'll see ya.